Okay, guys, what was your first reaction when you got cast in this movie?
Elation. Yeah, it was a long time coming. It was sort of one of these things where I knew they were interested in me for months, and so the suspense was absolutely killing me. I wanted to be a part of this movie so bad, to be able to be a rock star, not just any rock star, but in like the most iconic and legendary band maybe of all time. And it was very funny because actually Queen, playing with Adam Lambert, they were playing in Brooklyn the day I found out I got the job. And before I got the phone call, I was in New York, and I was like, should I just go to the concert and like hold up a sign saying, put me in your movie? But then when I got that phone call, it was hugs from the family, and then it was, okay, it's time to get to work. They flew me out 2 days later to start, bass rehearsals and band rehearsals and everything. So it was pretty wild, yeah.
I was just like, I've been waiting for a long time as well. And I think I'd actually gone past the point of like, I was just relieved when I got the job because I wanted it so badly. And I at one point, it looked like I was just going to get the offer in the next couple of days. And then I didn't hear anything for weeks. And I was just like, I just couldn't like relax until I found out what happened. So when I got it, it was just like a wave of relief. And then just realizing how much of an amazing opportunity this was going to be.
And they had you on IMDb as the character before you even got the job.
It's happened to me twice before. Yeah. Something came out in the press saying I got the part when I didn't have it, and I don't even know how that happened. And then like all of my friends and my family are going, "Congratulations, you got the job!" And I'm like, "I don't have it." Yeah.
So how did you prepare for your roles? What did the research look like?
It was intense. Yeah, it's funny because any one element of this job would have been enough to like give me a full-time job of preparation. But it was like, okay, first I started with looking like him, right? Like if I squint my eyes and sort of bring out my lip, I can kind of take on his face and understand the way he moves his body. And then I had to also learn how to play the bass. And I had to learn like 25 Queen songs. And I had to learn them to look like I'd been playing for, a solid 10, 15 years. And then I had to learn this dialect, this East Midlands accent, English accent that I had never heard before. And it's like, okay, I got to do that. And then I've got to learn how he moves on stage. And then beyond all that, I have to still, like, bring life to this character and emote and know where we are in the movie. And so, like, all of those elements coming together, it was just like once you felt like you mastered one thing, you were just hit with something else that you had to do. And so luckily we live in the age of the internet, and YouTube is just like has a treasure trove of information. Yep. You can actually watch some concerts and just follow the John Deacon camera and just watch the camera solely on him for 2 hours so you can understand all of his movements. And I'm sure it was the same for you.
Completely, yeah. I mean, I think... And what was also unique about this job in terms of research was having Brian May and Roger Taylor themselves on the project, being available to all of us to ask questions and kind of pluck their brains about what happened and what Freddie was like, and use that in our telling of the story. That was something that was just incredibly. It was a real privilege to have.
Yeah. So what was the hardest scene or part of the movie to make?
Well, the one that was most daunting was Live Aid, because it was the very first thing we shot, and we had to be exact. Like, when I say exact, I mean anything that you can see filmed in 1985 of this band, we had to emulate that. We had to do it exactly. Like, if John's head turned to the left, then my head had to turn to the left. But what made this movie so unique is that we would go from doing these concerts and being these rock stars to then immediately going into a very emotional scene in the movie. And then from there, we would go into like a sort of comedic scene where we would just be riffing and ad-libbing and trying to make each other laugh in these things. And then we would have to do another concert. So we didn't even have any downtime. On the weekends, we were learning the new songs for the new concerts. And so I think it was just the cumulative effect of basically making 3 movies in one that made it so daunting and challenging.
Yeah, this film has everything. Yeah, it really does. I'm not just saying that.
Okay, what's your favorite Queen song and why?
Somebody to Love has always been my all-time favorite. Even though like Bohemian Rhapsody I think is considered their masterpiece, I actually feel like Somebody to Love is equally as epic, and it's a little more accessible, and the lyrics just hit home a little bit more. The simplicity of that idea of just wanting to find someone, to love is just something that's really beautiful. Always loved it.
Mine is White Queen, As It Began. I don't know if you know that one. Live at the Odeon. It's specifically, it's on Queen 2. It's just perfect. And there's like this amazing section, which is about 90 seconds long, where it's just like in the live version where they're all just vamping together, and it's just perfect.
All right, great.